Welcome to Story Van TV. Today we have a very special guest. She's a friend, she's a mentor, she's someone that I truly admire because of all that she does. This is Irina Shehovsov today we have as our guest, and she is just got this great background, but I've got to tell you, she's a transformation coach, which includes mindset, wellness, happiness for sure. She's helping us find longevity and high performance. And what I really love is behind the scenes, she also is an author. She also has children, teenagers, and she's one of the people I know that can do many things very well. Many of us do one thing, she can do many things very well. But today we're going to be talking about how to transform your life using healthy methods. And Irina, I just want to welcome you here today. And could you share just a bit about your background and what brought you to helping others with their lives, with their healthy, happy lives?
Sure. Thank you so much, Bunny, for having me. Always a pleasure to talk to you and be here. What got me started is my personal experience, not living and not being fully alive, becoming a single parent out of the blue, and living in a depressive state of mind for about a year, realizing I could no longer live like that. And making a decision one time that I have to change something because however I was living wasn't really working. And so I decided to change at that moment. I didn't know how it's going to be or what it's going to be, but however I was living wasn't working. And this is how my health journey started. I wasn't overweight or anything. I didn't have any physical conditions. The only condition I did have was probably depression and not being in the right frame of mind, not feeling truly alive, constantly rushing, but not feeling like I was living. And so I embarked on a journey of personal development and growth
Mhm,
that kind of started first with my health, with my
mhm,
health habits.
mhm. So you were awake and aware enough to know that you weren't living fully you yet, that with all that had been happening, because those are big life transitions, becoming a single parent. And so then when you realize that, it sounds like you had some training so
Yes.
that you could help others. And what was that training?
So there was a lot of training. There was mindset first, with neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. They kind of think of it as a manual for your mind. Instead of only knowing of choice A or choice B, you suddenly have the opportunity to see A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. You become more open to things and you start to see your life in a different way. And it's an incredible kind of feeling. You cannot really describe it until you go through it yourself. Because as part of the training, you first is a student of the training. You experience all the methods, all the learnings on yourself, and that's how you learn. And then you become good at it so that you can also teach others. So with neurolinguistic programming, there are three levels of programs. You go through first one, which is 100 hours of intensive training. Then it's the second one, master practitioner, with more training in person. It's not just some online course that you take, because now they make it so kind of available and free even, but it's the real deal. And then the third level was trainer's training. So now I'm able to train and certify others in the same discipline of unlocking the power of your mind and seeing life with a different perspective. With timeline therapy, it allows to go back in the past and discover the root cause of a problem or an emotion. Or let's say you were feeling not good enough, or something happened in your childhood and you have been living and you discovered a certain pattern about how you live your life, whether you're getting into the same kind of relationship or you're not getting the results that you're looking, that you can get. And on a surface level, you're doing everything right. You have this life that on outside looks perfect, but inside you don't feel like it is perfect. This is where timeline therapy helps with
Wow.
uncovering the root cause, like what's happened. It could happen in a 5-second range. You don't even have a recollection of it, but
Mm-hmm.
deeply affected because you start forming your beliefs on that
Mm-hmm.
thing that happened so many times years ago. So that was the mindset part of the training.
So you've got the mind, and then the body was the next part of it to
Yes,
help with
yes,
mind, but you need to have both, because if you just go to work on the body without the mindset, it may not stick. Is that right?
that's correct. I believe in this holistic approach of mind, body, soul. So second one is body, and it is about wellness. It is about movement. I think through pandemic we discovered that we sit a lot in front of screens and we don't really use our body, and our mind is very efficient machine. If you don't use something, it's not going to spend the energy to maintain that part of your body. As a result, you might develop sarcopenia, which is overextension of bone and not so much muscle. So and also nutrition comes into great importance. You become what you eat. Sleep is important. Listening to our body and what your body needs. If you are sick or if you need rest, listening to that, inner knowing, and doing that instead of just keep pushing forward until you completely fall apart. And the second component, so it's wellness, nutrition, listening to your body's needs. And the second part of it is fitness. Fitness as a lifestyle. So it's not something you have to do. Let's say you're going to a wedding or you want to look good in a bikini, but it's something that you do on a day-to-day basis. And this is where 10x fitness training that I got certified in comes in. And what it is, it's a simple 15-minute full body resistance exercise circuit designed to safely stimulate the largest possible response in our biggest organs of our body. It's basically a resistance exercise, but the best part of it, you don't have to do it every day. You only do it twice a week, 15 minutes each, so 30 minutes per week. And what happens as a result, you increase your endurance, you increase your strength, you can get rid of any pains and aches, and you become a better person. Of course, nutrition plays great part as well, aside from the workout, because it's kind of contributing factor to overall wellness. And the fact that you have, I know I don't have to tell you, but 10,000 steps a day, kind of, it's a standard that we gotta move our body. And it doesn't mean that you have to do all 10,000 at the same time. You can like split it around. You can do 20 minutes in the morning before breakfast, 20 minutes in the afternoon after lunch, and 20 minutes in the evening, so it doesn't feel like a lot. It feels good because you're moving your body, you're maintaining that. And when you take yourself out in nature for walks, you're not only exercising your body, you're actually freeing your mind. You get to enjoy the nature, you get to absorb all that's around you. And another component is protein intake, because when you're exercising, and especially when you're doing resistance training, you do need protein. And the recommended dosage is 1.6 grams of protein per body weight if you transfer it into kilos. So you can multiply that and get the number that you need. On average, it's 100 to 150 grams, like if I would say an average, per day. And then you can, divide it how many meals you have a day to kind of include that a little bit. And hydration is important. Drinking is important. Water. That's right.
Wow, there's so many wonderful things to say about that. What I really get is, if we even start one thing, it can roll to the next. So for instance, earlier this year, I was in a car accident and I ended up getting some kinesiology treatments. And out of that, when that ended, the private ones, I asked her which class I should join. And she said a 50s plus class. So I did. And it's so fascinating because I'd never done kinesiology, where we're kind of on doing floor exercises and some very, very simple exercises, but to move the body. Out of that begets the walking poles that I love to use. And then out of that is, most of the time, I think, okay, do I want to eat this or that? And it all starts playing together, where they all roll together. And so what I'm hearing you say is that 15 minutes twice a week could help a person reset themselves so that they can do other things healthier too. And it's like we say, oh, we can't do all of those things at once. Maybe not, but maybe you start somewhere. And what I really like about your 10x is most people would say, oh, I don't have half an hour today. You just broke it down. Maybe it's a little walk in the morning, a little walk in the afternoon. My own sister did that. She did it on her lunch, her 2 breaks for the day. She lost 10 pounds just by for those, and it was 10 minutes at a time. She would walk 10 minutes in the morning break and 10 minutes in the afternoon break in Los Angeles. And she said she couldn't believe it, and it really helped her. So breaking it down to where people actually do it and comply with it can have huge benefits over a lifetime. And what I'm hearing you also say is it's not all or nothing, it's all in something. By doing something very simply, then you can actually feel better. One of the things I know about you, Irina, is you sing. So other things, the mindset part of it is, what do things that make you happy? You don't have to do an exercise you don't like. You can do something you do like.
Yeah.
And being in nature. Oh, that was a really good one. My husband Greg goes out on walks to the park, and there's a little river there, and he can go sit by the river and then walk back again. It's not far, but it's enough to get you outside and get the air and everything. What would you say? I know it's the mindset, it's the body, it's the nutrition. If they were to start with any one thing, is there any one that's better than another to start with?
I think the most important thing is to making a decision to change your life. That's where it begins.
Okay.
But when the present condition is the way you are living is not really working for you, and you are done taking it in, you are done, suppressing how you are feeling, and you want to change something about your life, when you make that decision, and that the future pulls you forward so much than the present past conditioning that you are find yourself in. Once you make that step, you can then start doing. And I think the beginning base is probably gratitude, practicing gratitude and finding things that are working already in your life. Because when you're in a bad state, the last thing you want to do is get out of bed and do anything. Let's just say how it is. So I think at the starting point, you gotta find what is it that is presently good in your life that you take for granted. I used to take walking for granted because I was fine until I dislocated my knee. I am totally fine now. What happened 4 times in my lifetime. Until you lose something so easy, so that you don't even think about. You start then appreciating how great you had it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. But one other thing I think is really important to this whole thing is, Irina, what you do is you're a coach. And one thing people don't realize is sometimes we all need that helping hand. It's not to push us, it's to hold our hand, to go with us, and to be on this journey. And we all need someone. And sometimes we can't talk to our spouse or our kids or a neighbor about this kind of stuff. We need someone that's aside, separate, that's an expert in what they're doing, so they can guide us through the process. And once we get going, maybe eventually we might not need a coach. But if we think about sports teams, they all have a coach. If we think about a singer, they all have coaches. If we think about anybody that's doing something really well, they all have a coach. And so that's where you come in. And so when you work with people, what does that look like? What does that feel like?
It feels amazing when people have that light bulb moment that they have transformed, seeing where they've been to who have they become through the process. That's the best part of working together. And the coach is a person who helps you get from point A to point B. That's one explanation. Another explanation is coach helps you remove the blinders that you have on, because we're very foveal in the way we see our life, and we only see one way to our life. So coach helps to kind of pull back the blinders a little bit and maybe allow you to see a different perspective. Not to change you, but to give you a better sense of the world. Imagine when you have glasses and you have smudges on your glasses, it's like coach helps to clean the lens through which you see your world and allow you to see different possibilities, opportunities, things that you didn't notice before.
What age group do you like to work with, Irina?
Over 40.
Yeah, once we hit that interesting 40 mark, life does change a bit. I distinctly remember my 40th birthday 27 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I was not a happy camper.
No?
No,
And now you have a happy camper now, right?
I'm happy camper now. I was just not in good shape. I had gone through a divorce. I was kind of in a pity party place. But when I began dancing, something that gave me joy and exercise all at the same time, it changed, much of how I felt. And so I can tell people that life does change. We might think one thing at one age, but at another age, you might feel totally different. And I call it 3/4 time now, but it's I have heard a funny statistic about women that they're very happy at age 60. But when you hit 40, that's a really good time because often our metabolism's changing then, and we may be in a career change. Kids are leaving home sometimes then. There's so many things that can be happening, but to have a life-changing experience to where you feel really good about yourself, really good. And like you said, it's that mindset and that physical activity. And then the eating part too. That was interesting what you said about protein. Often people think, oh, protein's only one thing, but there's many. Broccoli has 12% protein. It's those interesting choices we make on foods.
Yeah.
And I used to write a food column years ago, and it was way back in the 80s. So it wasn't all that healthy. But then I started working for a health food store. So my recipes were gradually getting healthier and healthier. It was really funny. And that's when people wrote letters and they would ask for recipes. And this lady wrote me, said, enough with the tofu already. It was really funny. But I think when I used to guide people through a store, it wasn't about excluding foods. It was about including new foods that you may have never try new vegetable week. What a hoot. You may not even know what kohlrabi is, or maybe, bok choy or something. But if you learn about the different vegetables, it can make food really fun. If you're not a food person, if you are a food person, it can be even more fun. But I think, what do you think about the food choices people make? I know you said the protein. Are there other foods that you like to encourage people to try or eat?
Of course. Anytime you have a choice, always choose whole foods, minimally processed foods. Avoid seed oils from your diet. So the good oils are olive, avocado, and coconut.
Okay.
That's it, because they are kind of from a bigger seed versus all the other ones like cotton or grape seed. All those oils, what happens through the process of extracting the oil, actually the bad stuff remains. That's why it's not really good for your system to consume those things. Hydration is very important.
Oh my gosh, the hydration, isn't it? And drinking water doesn't have to be a chore. It can be as simple as getting a large container and just making sure that you get through it through the day. And
and also paying attention to your body. Sometimes we suppress, or sometimes we actually think we are hungry, but instead we are thirsty. So next time you're hungry, try sipping a little bit of water, see how you feel, if that quenches your hunger.
Yeah, that one, it took me a while to do that, but I definitely, and funny, I have to have a certain glass. I like a certain glass, to drink out of if I can. That's very helpful too. So with saying all this, what I really love is that we know now that it's not going to be hard, that transformation comes from literally making a decision. Having a coach to help us through this is super important. And I know, like I said, I've met Irina, I've watched her work. She is a woman of many, many talents, but she loves to help other people find that joy, find that spark, find that vitality that we all can have. And even if you're in a wheelchair, I tell you this for sure because I know people in wheelchairs. My girlfriend who was in wheelchair, she would go to a gym 4 days a week. And she would do even exercises just with her arms, or she would push the things with her legs. It's super important. Right now, my dad's 93 in a facility. He's having a physio twice a week, and now we're adding a third time some OT so that he can have movement. Again, that movement is so important. It doesn't matter your age. No, it's just super important. But I'm going to encourage everyone to reach out to Irina, and let's see here. We'll show her website here, and it's Mind, Movement, and Health. And this is a beautiful thing that you have there. Reclaim your life. Literally reclaim your life. And you all can do this. It's very fun. Go there and meet her. Have a one-to-one with Irina. Find out how you two can live your best life. She has many things in her toolbox besides what we've just talked about today, and she can help you find your best life. So with this, Irina, what else would you like to share with the audience?
Thank you so much for having me. And remember, to anyone who is listening, you're always only one decision away from changing your life. No matter where you are, there is always better stuff for you. It's only a matter of you believing.
Oh, that is so beautiful, Irina. Thank you so much for being on Storyvan TV today. I know you're going to bless many people because it's going to put that little thought in their mind, and they won't not think about it. They'll think about how they too can have their best life. We'll see you next time. Bye.